Yo, what's up guys, it's Marilli here and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do a little bit of a breakdown type of video. I make sure you guys have everything timestamps and all that good stuff. So we're just going to be talking about Purgatory Bond, some questions that you usually have for global people. And that's how do you counter or at least check Purgatory Bond, what type of gear does he use and how to build up his gear, what are the teams you want to build up for Purgatory Bond, and pretty much his kit in general, just so I can explain a little bit, because it seems like a lot of people get confused about how to use his kit. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that all today for you guys. All right, so we're gonna be getting into his kit and all that good stuff. First of all, I want to show you guys his costumes. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like to see him. I got this main body costumes maxed out just because I had enough costume materials. So show you real quick. You get this from an event, and there you go. You can see his weapons, which is his gloves, and then you have his hair. There you go, boys. There you go. So you guys get to see that. We're gonna go to his kit real quick. Yeah, I do have mine 6 out of 6. All right, so first of all, we're gonna be talking about his detonate skill, which is an AoE. If you don't know what detonate does, it does additional damage per orb in the target's ultimate move gauge, which is pretty insane because he already does high amounts of damage, and he also does damage equal to 9% of his max HP on all enemies. On bronze, silver is 14%, and on gold is 21% of max HP. Those are the two words you really want to work. You want the really worry about is detonate and max HP. So when you hear that, you can already tell that Purgatory Bond is gonna need an HP type of set. So anybody who made an attack set for their Bond is going to be pretty much useless for a Bond, because you want the most maximum HP you can possibly have, which is going to be needed for an HP set. So you probably, if you got an attack set right now, you're probably going to have to throw that away or just keep it to your other Bonds, I guess. But you're going to need a full-on HP type of set. Show you the skill right now. On gold, I'm using the regular attack rolls. I do have a different set one as well, but that was just my attack roll one. And he has his HP buff card as well, which is pretty decent. I'm not even gonna lie, this diminished effect is pretty nice. Don't know what it does. It applies an effect that heals diminished HP for all allies by 20% on start of ally turns, and increase max HP by 10% for 2 turns. On bronze, it's 30% and then 20% on silver. And on gold, it's 50% and 30% for 3 turns. So this thing can really just pretty much heal you up, your team. It's an AoE buff. It's just really insane of being able to get healed. I really like it for making like teams. It really makes the match a little bit long, but it's good for like stalling out the match up, especially if you're not even using really a regular Purgatory Bond team. All right, so now we have Purgatory Bond Ultimate. Now, you don't know what his ultimate does. It inflicts damage equal to 30% of max HP on all enemies, and it goes higher by 3% multiplier for each dupe you have. So in the last one, you get a 45% of max HP on all enemies. The worst thing of people, or the thing that people complain about the most, is that at 6 out of 6, the skill gains a rupture. If you don't know what that means, it means that on buff enemies, it'll do 2 times damage against them. That's only at 6 out of 6, so it is technically a well ultimate. Even though I've seen people wipe people out without needing 6 out of 6, but 6 out of 6 is very, very good against other mirror match Purgatory Bond teams or Goddess Elizabeth who want to throw up their shield or reflect on them, and they end up just taking 2 times damage because they had buffed up, which is pretty nice. So I'm about to show you guys his ultimates real quick and tell me if you guys enjoy, if you like it. Man, all right, let's see this. All right. Oh, Elena. Oof. This man saw his ex and said, I gotta go crazy. Pow. Not that bad, not that bad of an ultimate. Nothing too crazy, nothing too flashy. But yeah, you're also gonna talk about his passive as well. Let me go up here real quick, just so I can show you guys his passive. All right, when the hero's ultimate move gauge field due to skill use, skill move, or rank up, increase max HP by 8% for 3 turns. max 5 stacks and cleanse stat decreasing debuffs. Now, a lot of people, they really don't pay attention to this passive, because I've seen so many people comment on my videos like, yo, you know what would be a counter? Malascula, because Malascula has that stat debuff, and then you just read at the bottom, it says in cleanse the stats decreasing debuff, so you can already tell like Malascula is not gonna do anything to stop Purgatory Bond. Even though I get so many people talk about, yo, Malascula counters, man, because they're debuff card. Yo, Glock's counter because he can just reduce his stats. And you just see that, oh, if Bond gets it stacked up, he instantly just cleanses it. So that means that the debuff is just pretty much pointless. But yeah, man, it stacks like 8 turns. Usually what I've seen with people, the way they attack is they usually push for Purgatory Bond ultimate by just moving cards. They just do what Asoma Meliodas did and just move cards pretty much most of the time till they get the ultimate that no one can really tank, because it's a max HP type of ultimate. So if Goddess throw up a shield, she's still gonna take that max HP effect because it's a base type of ultimate. Or, you know, they go for like the full amount of damage and let the opponent stack up their gauge just so you can use their AoE detonate card on Purgatory Bond and still does the same amount of damage. So we're gonna be talking about his gear because I know a lot of people want to hear about his gear, and let's get to it, boys. So a lot of people really want to know, like, what gear should I use for Purgatory Bond? The gear you want to use is the HP/defense or HP crit damage sets. You also want to change your attack rolls to something like crit chance or crit damage on one side. So I have crit damage on this side and I have crit chance on this one, and that's just so I can improve on my crit chance, because right now Purgatory Bond has 80% of crit chance. So if I give him an extra 20%, it's now 100% crit chance. It all depends on you, because you have to remember you have to crit to get this amount of crit damage either way. I see a lot of people who do this in PvP. They be having like about a 10k attack Purgatory Bond. I have used regular attack roll set in PvP before, and that's because mostly what Purgatory Bond does is he ult rushes at the end of the day. Like, he's like a Asoma Meliodas where you end up just ult rushing with him for the most part. But he went from 59k from 57k, so if I change up my rolls from a regular attack to crit damage and crit chance, I lose out on about 2k CC. That's because Purgatory Bond has the highest CC in game. What I've seen is Purgatory Bond with like max attack rolls, I think he was at like what, maybe 62k CC. He's the #1 CC in the game right now currently. So even if you go with a crit damage, crit chance, if you have a maxed out Purgatory Bond, it'll look like it's nothing in terms of your CC, because you're still gonna be super high. So keep that in mind, guys, if you want to just change to the maximum damage on your Purgatory Bond. Like I said before, you also can use HP/crit damage as well if you want to do insane amount of damage whenever you crit. That's extra 20% on your Bond. So instead of 190, you'll probably be at the 210s, 215s, because I don't have a maxed out crit damage Bond. So it all depends on you guys on what you want to do with your Purgatory Bond. It's just me personally, just because I'd never really just attack most of the time. I usually just ult rush. Alright, so we can talk about Purgatory Bond teams, with teams you probably want to build up. This is usually the most team I've seen mostly in PvP right now, is the one Escanor as a third option for Purgatory Bond team. They usually use like SR Greener or Twiggo in the back. It all depends on you, what you like to do. Me, I personally like Twiggo, just do high amounts of damage since he does give a 30% HP boost. You have to remember, Purgatory Bond is only as strong as his HP boosting units are still in PvP or still out. So if you don't have your HP boosting units, Purgatory Bond isn't gonna do that much damage. I also see people run like a full HP boosting team as well. Like they just throw out SR Greenmore. I usually call this like the free-to-play setup, because they just do high amounts of damage either way. I only see people who have like low dupes use this setup just because they want to do as much have as much HP as possible and deal as much possible with Purgatory Bond. Not even gonna lie to you guys. Like I said before, it all depends, man, on you. I'm also seeing Kyo setup with like Kyo and then Festival Zeldris in the back, something like that. I've seen that setup before. I've seen Evil Lilia and Twiggo in the back. Like, there's so many fun setups you can use with Purgatory Bond teams. It really depends on you, what you like to do. I usually just mainly see red units, nothing crazy like blue Lilia and all that good stuff. I have seen red Easton be used before on Ult Rush type of Purgatory Bond team, so if you want to invest in a red Easton, that's also a good option as well. Oh my god, can I find her? I'll try to find her, but yeah, red Easton is also a good setup as well. Oh, she's right here. So yeah, red Easton is also a good setup. I think I showed a case of video like this before or yesterday, where I just used old food red Easton and just was nuking other people Purgatory Bond glue to teams. Why people use usually do one Escanor setup instead of a cleanse unit, even though a lot of people like to ult rush, it's pretty much RNG at the end of the day. Like, if you end up with bad RNG where you mostly get either Arthur or red Easton cards, those units are not going to save you. But you end up not getting Purgatory Bond cards, but you end up getting a lot more of the one Escanor cards. The one Escanor can still do high amounts of DPS to other people units. You can either ult rush with Purgatory Bond or the one Escanor. It just gives you so many options to do with the one Escanor, especially if you're dealing with debuff units like Amelia and all that good stuff. So you can easily just push for your D1 Escanor ultimate whenever you want to. But that's just me personally. Purgatory Bond also, his links are usually just Ludociel or Sariel. Mostly I use just Sariel just because I know most of the time people just stall out the match to begin with. So I just started with Sariel, just so if I do end up attacking or hitting them, I can just know like, yo, I'm going to do a lot of damage if I end up critting. So that's just me personally, and this works for both ungeared and geared PvP guys with these teams, so keep that in mind. Alright, so a lot of people in my videos, they usually be like, yo, red Malaska counters, yo, blue Valenti counters. They be saying all these random counters, but I'm gonna show you what I've been noticing in PvP, what can beat a Purgatory Bond, and it still is a top meta team in PvP, and you probably guys already love it, hate it. But yeah, the true counter of Purgatory Bond is going to be Goddess Elizabeth plus Gotha combination. Now, you might be saying, wait, hold on. How does this team counter Purgatory Bond? You have to remember, with Goddess Elizabeth's shield, her shield can stop additional effects like Detonate, which Purgatory Bond has, which means you're not going to take much damage from Purgatory Bond if you keep continuously just throwing up your Goddess Elizabeth's shield. You also have Gotha, who has a debuff that can get rid of ult gauge, because you got to remember, if Purgatory Bond doesn't do the same amount of damage, you can also just take away gauge, which is why a lot of people, they throw out another DPS next to Purgatory Bond just in case, like, yo, if Purgatory Bond gets bad RNG, runs out of cards, then you have another unit that you can use. And with Purgatory Bond teams, their weakness is usually them either having like trash units next to them, next to Purgatory Bond, because remember, you have like SR units, outdated SSR units. You have R unit in the back like Twiggo, and a lot of people don't really run like cleansers, so you can easily just stun Purgatory Bond in PvP. And once Purgatory Bond, your main DPS is gone, you're pretty much helpless at the end of the day. So that's why a lot of people still have Glue Eater on top meta, just because it's so easy to beat Purgatory Bond with this Glue Eater team. And it's easy for Purgatory Bond to beat you back, because what happens when you don't get your Goddess of his shield, or you're still unable to stun Purgatory Bond? Purgatory Bond is still going to do high amounts of damage against the Glue Eater team. I have defeated Glue Eater teams with Purgatory Bond before, just because they end up with bad RNG. Those that still exist. The same that goes for Purgatory Bond. If he gets bad RNG, you can still lose. So keep that in mind, guys, that it's like either like a 50-50 when it comes to Glue Eater versus Purgatory Bond. At the end of the day, it all depends on your RNG. But this is the defensive setup. I'm gonna let you guys know about the offensive setup, which is this one with Ludociel, the one Escanor, and Tarmiel. I've done a video about this before. I think I used Marilli instead of Tarmiel, but it's still the same premise of you just doing high amounts of damage to either Purgatory Bond or his Arthur, because you know Arthur is his main stance unit, taunt unit, all that good stuff. So if you get rid of Arthur, then you can just attack everybody else inside. And you have to remember, Purgatory Bond is only as good as his HP boosting units are still there. So if Bond doesn't have his HP boosting units anymore, you're pretty much gonna win the matchup pretty easy. And we also have Athena on the back, so if you kill off Arthur, Purgatory Bond won't be able to ult rush you. You got Tarmiel with a stance effect, just so he doesn't do high amounts of damage to everybody in your entire team. And that's pretty much it, boys, in terms of like counters. There's also like fun stuff you can do. Like there's also Amelia who can freeze, because like I said before, Purgatory Bond counters are usually stem from either you attack his units with high DPS units, like the one that's gonna Ludocia setup and Tarmiel, or you should start freezing, spamming freezes, stuns against them, and he pretty much end up being helpless. But Purgatory Bond really threw down a lot of other units in PvP. I think Stan's team dropped. Assault Meliodas really dropped. Purgatory Bond hard counters Assault Meliodas, so RP you Meliodas players. But yeah, that's pretty much all about the counters right now. We're talking about defensive and offensive. There's no really like one unit that can pretty much counter Purgatory Bond. It all depends on your set of units. Like Goddess's bit with Green Gother are pretty much a must, just so you can just stun them whenever. I've done this so many times to people. That's why you see a lot of people run the Green Gother and Goddess's bit set up in PvP and just throw out a random unit, just because you can just do anything when you have this set up. Alright, so I think I went through everything that a lot of people have been curious about when it comes to Purgatory Bond, especially for global people. I talked about the teams, I talked about the gear you want to use or roll with. I talked about this kit, I talked about this costume. I think I talked about everything. So I mean, if you enjoyed this video, man, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I usually don't do as much breakdown videos as I usually do, but I'll make sure when it comes, I'll do more and more of these breakdown videos, because I know a lot of people really love the information that I give and provide, especially when I play PvP, like mostly like a lot of times in PvP. Like usually like about like over 100 times in PvP, just seeing what people like to run and play around with in PvP. It's very informative. But again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys again like and subscribe. This is Marilli, guys, and I'm out. Peace.